Lolinoba on the left. And when those 5 red lights go out, it will be go, ladies and gentlemen, out of the wet conditions. Kareem 17 looking for a scorching start to try and breach through a couple of positions. Not going to happen. It's a perfect start for GB. Kareem down the inside, though, immediately. Fantastic start from the Aston Martin driver, and Vince follows in hot pursuit, using that momentum. The championship leader with complete compromise to his overall rhythm. Tiamat Marduk, the hometown hero, looking to try and prize a move away, as into the grass goes the Alpine. That is, I think, of Tom 97, who has had an absolute scorcher of a start, up to P12 already here, John.
Incredible stuff. I mean, Karim just bullying Lolinoba off the line there. I think that was Matt 2-on-2 going very wide as well. But Grid Jokes had a shocking start, also getting pushed onto the grass. I think that was him going up the inside of Top 97. So a really, really tricky start. And that, I think, was Infratic getting all sideways, trying to chase after Sapso. So it's all starting at the moment. You can see how much the cars are drifting, trying to keep full throttle. This is chaotic already, and we haven't even got to the crossover period. We're on board now with Tiamat Marduk. Let's see if he can get closer to Lolinoba. Once again, Lolinoba finding that traction at the moment, and Tiamat Marduk going to the inside, just defending, saying, you won't be able to get past me. But at the moment, it's looking like Karim might be attacking for the lead as well. Storming pace from the front two at the moment, as also Jorrit van Heffen under so much pressure.
Yeah, Jorrit has with a great move on Infratic up to P9. Excellent start from the Haas driver as we head on to the end of lap number 1. GB still leads. Kareem 17, rampant, resurgent. John, you said it yourself. He's got a score to settle, and he's immediately on the pace. That guy Vince in P3. Lolinoba down to 4th from P2 on the grid. Tiamat Marduk keeping him close company. Tom 97, his road to recovery has begun extremely well. Up 7 positions from the very back of the grid in just the first lap alone. Trying to move round the outside of turn 6. It was bold, it was brave on the first lap on Grid Jokes. Ultimately, too much momentum lost as Mango Slayer is disconnected. Devastation in the camp of the Haas driver. Kareem piles on the pressure. Here we are on board with him. You can see him in the picture-in-picture already. Complete concentration is what is needed in the wet conditions, not least because of the treachery of it all, but also because of the track limits. So easy to pick up those warnings and penalties that will wreak havoc on your race should you accumulate them.
Yeah, I was about to say, it may be the only race where you want to actually stay in that P2, because as the crossover period approaches, as we're seeing Tukey being all over the back of Tiamat Marduk right now, not going for an overtake though, the opportunity not there, but it will present itself sometime at the moment. Oh, a little bit of oversteer, that won't give him the overspeed necessary. It's going to have to be a battery and a late move here. Not going to happen. Oh, he thought about it. He thought about, oh no, on the grass! You can't believe it, all the way sideways, opposite lock. Recovered it well though, but just in trying to get back in line for the corner, just went a little bit too wide. That was near disaster.
Sorry, I've just seen a beefy seal has joined the session. Well, I'll tell you what, he's appropriate for the weather conditions, that's all I will say. But equally, please stay away, because we've got complete content and chaos occurring. Kareem with the fastest lap, no real surprise. He is breathing down the neck of GB in front. He revels in the rainy conditions. He absolutely adores them. And what a perfect time for the Aston Martin to find that leg up. Look at him closing in all the time. What does he think about throwing a shape? No, he does not. Remains line astern, but takes that tighter line. That's the level of adaptability you need. The dirty air arguably can feel even worse than the dry conditions, but Kareem immediately adapting. That's exactly what you need. It's great to see.
Yeah, goodbye to the industrious beefy seal. And unfortunately, another person has joined. There you go. But yeah, it's one of those things in this race. I think it's going to be useful to stick behind another car and sort of pressure them, because the grip is going to be ever so changing and you can't go on to the intermediates. So you want to almost have that car in front of you to judge the grip for you. So if you see them going off, you automatically know, well, I need to brake a little bit late or earlier. Sorry, well, brake later and maybe drift. That's what we're seeing at this point. But just look at the overspeed that Kareem has. Just a little bit more confidence, maybe a slight bit more downforce in that setup, and I think that's what we were seeing in qualifying. Kareem was losing 0.4 of a second in sector 1, but was gaining it back, and it's through this sector 3 that can really put GB under pressure, as that guy Vince is slowly getting dropped from front 2, both of them sideways drifting in these final 3 turns. It's again another form of art. I just love everything about this.
It's the way to be. Show-stopping in Australia, ladies and gentlemen. End of lap number 3. GB goes to the inside to try and break that slipstream. Tom 97's progress has sort of, well, it's stagnated at the moment. He's still in P13 behind Chappers. We know how quick Tom 97 is, but that's the thing. When you're in those rainy conditions, that's the double-edged sword. You don't have that DRS to assist you. You are stuck in that dirty air, as that was very close to picking up the ire of the stewards. But equally, you think about it, lolling over. He's trying to chase down that guy Vince for P3 on the road. He can't quite get close enough to make a move. Tukey couldn't get close enough to Tiamat Marduk to make a move. It's so much ebbing and flowing all the way through that our drivers have got to deal with. They close into within that half a second mark, but they just can't get closer than that. It's going to take something special to make moves out here early on.
I'm not sure if you saw that, Carl, but Lolinoba on the exit of turn 5 brushed the barrier, or I think the wall, and was so close to having a disastrous moment there. He's pushing like hell to get past that guy Vince, and it's just not happening at the moment. The front two drifting, everybody drifting. I think perhaps maybe the rain getting a little bit less now, and so the tyres already might be struggling, but that guy Vince is so on the limit. We might see a move by Lolinoba here, not quite close enough, but putting that guy Vince under pressure. Same with Karim at the moment. It's looking like to shape a move on this one, you have to have something extra in the tank, and I'm not sure whether the drivers are willing to sacrifice that yet, as once again Lolinoba also has to think about the championship here. Is it worth sacrificing a lead in the championship just to gain a couple of extra points in these conditions, or just wait until it dries up to see if they can attack?
Exactly. I mean, the closest driver present in the championship is Razin Chai, 18 points. Of course, he's not here, but 29 points between Lolinoba and Kareem 17, the man in hot pursuit for victory at the moment. Lolly is getting closer and closer, though. He's just piling on that pressure, and that can bring on its own benefit. You might not be close enough to make a move. Look how confident he is, never mind. Bashes into the diffuser of the Mercedes man ahead, and just trying something different, trying to breathe down the neck of the Mercedes, pile on that pressure a little bit more to force him into a mistake. The other compromise you have is you can cause disruption for yourself. So the Italian Stallion, the championship leader, has got to be a little bit careful. Like you say, 29 points, it is a decent goal in terms of the drivers that are present, but you can throw that all the way in a heartbeat. Make no mistake about that. Good jokes for on Yorit as well.
Indeed. Oh, Lolinoba up the inside. No way you get that done. That guy Vince just left the door open. Lolinoba's lost it, I think, not using the battery afterwards. So that guy Vince had to drain the battery. Will he have anything left? Both of them have been compromised on the chicane. Again, he leaves the door open. No way. 2 times in 5 corners. He's going to get the job done, but can he keep it on track? Yes, no gravel on those tyres. That guy Vince loses out on P3 for the moment. Apparently, he is willing to put points on the line, and now it's the case of can Lolinoba catch the front two who are already 2 seconds clear. It's going to be pedal to the metal and go for that Scarlet Ferrari.
Italian incineration sweeping away the downpour of desperation as the times get faster and faster. GB now with a 1:33.4, trying to drop Karim and team radio.
No, I'm not defending. Oh yeah, at least Karim's quicker, but if it was loads quicker, it'd be all over our diffuser, so I think both lines.
Quite right from GB68, or GB as he's called now. We don't usually associate the number, but the point is, stats don't lie. He's flying out there. Nearly dropped Kareem by nearly a second, the gap so far. On lap number 6, you can see the actual fogginess, the murkiness here in Australia is slowly but surely going away. It is much more clear to see, and Tukey with a keen eye on P5 once again, piling pressure on the hometown hero in the slipstream, battery to burn. Lolinoba went for the move into the far chicane. Vince didn't try and defend it, but in this case, Tiamat Marduk with plenty of battery and extra assistance of slipstream, and Tukey will have to rethink that particular strategy.
Yeah, Tukey is indeed all over that diffuser. And I think, another person all over the diffuser. Chappers on the Art Van Heffen. That was all over the curb there on the exit of turn 12. And so Chappers will have the overspeed. Will they go for it? Last of the late breakers. They're not going to have the commitment into there. And that might open the door for Tom 97. He thought about it. He almost put the car next door. two chappers, and may even be a late overtake. Oh, Tom nearly swapping ends of the car. It's just pointing out how important traction is at this phase of the race. And look at that, the time's coming down at the moment. That's an improvement of, I think, 0.8 of a second, and you can see the dry line forming. This is where it gets interesting.
You can see immediately Tom 97 cutting to the inside as well. But any kind of cooling and resuscitation onto those wet tyres, that's the next part they have to think about now. They've weathered that first storm. Tuki's off. Tuki into the grass, almost into the gravel as well. He carries so much speed into the corner, but he does remain in on the track crucially, but down to P7 he goes. Concept inherits the benefit from that. But now, like I say, the temperatures are what they need to think about. Trying to cut off that racing line. GB's doing it. Kareem's following suit as well, because it's going to wreak havoc all the way through now until they can just get to that dry period. This is going to get interesting here, John.
Yeah, Lolanoba losing 0.5 of a second on this lap, and Dagai Vince has been dropped at the moment. He's lost over 1.5 seconds. I think a little bit of a mistake in there at some point, but you can just see Lolanoba in the background of that shot. Both of these guys in front really just keeping the pace up at the moment. You want to build a gap, but again, it's a load of questions. What do you want to do? Your wet tires will be overheated. Oh, well, there's the mistake. GB all sorts out of shape in the penultimate corner, and that will allow Kareem to get alongside, not really where you want to be on that last turn, but that could have been devastating. Nearly doing an Oscar Piastri from last season. So very, very just tentative at the moment on these tires, and it still isn't enough as the times continue to tumble. But these front two are going to be battling for the time being at the moment.
That's the struggles they are facing as the temperatures ramp up, as the tyres go by attrition. GB again, a little bit wide of the apex at turn number 3. Kareem trying to be right on the diffuser of the RB. He himself goes wide and catches the car with an armful of opposite lock. Here on lap number 8, we've got 50 laps to go. It's been a massive roller coaster already. Half a second, now 6/10 separates the top two. Lolanoba with the fastest lap of the race. No real surprise. There was that compromise of GB going wide at the penultimate corner. Slipstream for Kareem 17, getting closer and gaining all the time. But again, GB has the counteract, the battery to burn to dispel the particular mass offence by the Aston Martin. Both of them perpetually sideways through the chicane. This is the closest that Kareem's been, though. Going into turn 13. Does he think about a move? Shows the nose to the inside. GB does leave the room at the apex, but uses marvellous momentum round the outside to keep P1 for now.
Lolanoba closing in, though. 2 seconds the gap. They are on the ragged edge. And I just want to report this, sadly, that I think Mango Slayer might have a small issue, because they are indeed on the intermediate tyre and have been for at least 2 laps at this point, at least according to the telemetry. Oh, they are, of course, disconnected from the race. I'm just being reminded. My apologies for that. I thought they'd rejoined. But there you go. They will be, ironically, gaining positions, perhaps, out of that. Lolanoba sets the fastest lap of the race. Only a 10th improvement. Team Radio.
5 minutes to the end of the rain, guys.
Okay, interesting. 5 minutes still. You can still see the rain falling. I think the question is here, who's going to bite the bullet? Some driver needs to pit first and give an indication to the other drivers of whether the dry compound tyre, whichever one they choose, is actually faster. The problem is that dry compound is going to be such a gap that I think a lot of the drivers are just going to stay out, because you might lose 5 seconds, 10 seconds on wet tyres that are overheating. You may lose 20 on a set of softs that just aren't up to temperature.
Kareem 17 looking to try and go for the lead. Once again, cuts the curb as aggressively as he can out of the chicane. GB with a much more impressive exit, though. And that means the Aston Martin just once again can't quite get close enough. Shows the nose to the inside. It is ominous to have Kareem 17 hunting you down. It's more ominous to have this man, though, who is bold, who is brave, who will sweep it round the outside at turn 13. That is astonishing from the Australian. Tiamat Marduk up to P4 on tyres that are pyroclastic flows worth of Pirellis, but even so has brought the absolute cinema to the equation. Blockbuster move here as we head on to lap number 10. Lolly still catching a 131.8 now as he just gets faster and faster, even more confident as the rain gets lighter and lighter. We saw he got into Spolt and tyres that were adverse to the conditions. Never mind though, because look who else has joined the party. Tom 97 is in the groove.
Yeah, right behind Jorik van Heffen, who's catching him Fratic as well. I just want to point out, this looks exactly like 1960s Formula One without the wings that had been developed afterwards. Just sliding, power sliding, drifting through every single corner, keeping the car on that ragged edge, otherwise it understeers. This is the type of racing, I'm sorry to say, that I love to see, and it's just looking like every driver is earning their place on the track. Let's say Mango has rejoined, so hopefully they can get off of those intermediate tyres. Maybe Mango will be the first person to go to the slicks, ironically, so we'll have to wait and see, as Tom 97 still stuck behind, I think, just trying to conserve the tyres. Everybody is going for a wet patch of tarmac at the moment to even get the tyres down by a degree. Oh, hang on a second, Infratic in the wall there. I'm not sure if there was a bit of front wing lost. Yes, there was. I think that damage was done there and not before, but that's not going to help.
But whatever the case, our man in Clipbook Corner might have an answer. It turns out Fabio had wing damage about 5 minutes ago, so a couple of laps ago. But even so, that's the conundrum he now has to face. He's already lost the front wing. That's chipped away at his confidence even more. On to lap number 11. Fastest lap from GB. Very quickly usurped as Tom 97 has a bit of a slide at the penultimate corner. It's getting even trickier. Look at the sheen on the track. It hardly exists. Alex in the wall, and there's a safety car, ladies and gentlemen. So that probably a signed, sealed and delivered that particular strategic discussion.
Yeah, that is a unfortunate scenario. So easy to drop it, though. I just sense that it's just trying to get on the throttle too early, probably, and just going straight into the barrier. The problem is that when you have such low grip or such overheating tires, if you counter-sear, sometimes, if you do it too aggressively, you can go into the barrier on the other side anyway. However, this does mean that there's going to be a lot of questions of whether to change over tires. I think most people are going to pit at this point.
Absolutely. Matt 2-on-2 apparently is now the race leader, followed quickly by Brandon Miles. They've somehow teleported into the lead. The DDoS strategy from the Silver Arrows and the greenest of machines. Mango Slayer up to P3. Ryan L83 gets a drive-through penalty. How much poetry can we raid in on what was once rainy Australian Grand Prix? Who knows, ladies and gentlemen? But that is apparently the top three. Hopefully that will sort itself out in a moment. There goes Matt 2-on-2 down to the back of the field. Brandon and Mango should follow in close quarters. GB and Co will peel into the pit lane. The question is, what tyres do they go for? It's about to get very slicey and dicey as we head into pit row.
Never seen a speeding penalty under the safety car. Wasn't even aware that was possible, but Ryan apparently is just that quick. Surely they're going to dive into the pits. Yes, I think GB was just trying to bait someone to stay out. But yeah, into the pit lane. Important to not get a speeding penalty. That would be silly. But Karim will be hoping they can just jump GB, and let's see what tyres they put on, because now the choice of compound matters. A lot of drivers going on to the hard tyres. Brandon Miles went on to the mediums. Let's have a look and see when it updates, as everybody peeling into the pits as we expected.
No real surprise there. That particular strategic discussion, like we said, was sorted long before due to that safety car, as there's all kinds of teleportations and gremlins happening. Regardless, though, GB is back out and into the lead of this race. That guy, Vince, and apparently Safso, they've stayed out, according to this. That is very interesting. I don't really know what's happening, I'll be honest, ladies and gentlemen, but cars are trickling back out onto the track. And I'm just listening in for word.
Now.
It is updating now, thank goodness for that. Medium tyres for GB, mediums for Kareem 17, hard tyres for Lolinoba and Tukey. Rather interesting. Hards are, of course, absolutely overpowered around a lot of the tracks on this particular game cycle. But even so, do they really want to get that long stint out of the way? It is very easy to catch a safety car here. We've seen that already.
I think the reason being of this grid being a bit jumbled at the moment is the safety car was coming out as drivers were passing the pit lane. So I think the board on the left-hand side has got a little bit mismatched. We'll see if that updates for the moment. The tyres are indeed updating, and as you said, most people on that hard compound tyre. I think a lot of people going mediums because they're expecting another period of rain from what I've heard. It may not be as intense, so they'll have to wait and see, but a lot of people thinking possibly the mediums can go to that second period of rain. Whether it will be enough to switch on to the wets, we'll have to wait and see. And whether the mediums will actually be good enough, we'll have to wait and see. Over, though, to Clipbook Corner.
Yes, hello. I've got quite a few clips for you. And we'll start off with quite a few from the race start. So this first one I'll give to you. This was Lolinoba, and this was where he lost a few positions. So he was on the inside, and even more insider was Kareem, who went for the move, and Lolinoba ran wide, lost a couple of positions. That's where his race start went a little bit wrong, and then he was, of course, in a fight with Tiamat Marduk as well. That's our first clip that we've got, and then we've got another couple. This is another one from Tom97. And, well, if you have a look, that is a front wing of a McLaren. That's where Infratic went wrong, and that was exactly where we saw the Portuguese driver losing that little bit of front wing. 30% wing damage on that car. Now, you might have seen an Alpine off of the circuit, quite far off the circuit, and that was Ryan L83. Now, this is the replay of that one, where he was on the outside, he forgot which way the track was, and he slid straight off of it, and that was unfortunate for himself indeed. But yeah, there was that, and then there was finally another little moment with an Alpine, bit of contact between Gridjo and Ryan, and well, it wasn't a great start, but you can see how much everybody was sliding. It's improved a little bit now. We've got a couple more clips for you. These are from slightly later on. This is Lolinoba and his move on that guy Vince, and well, he took the opportunity to go to the inside. It was a really risky move from the Ferrari man, but he just about held on to the car as he headed into the entry of the chicane. Now to the exit, he tried to set it up once again on Vince, again taking the risky inside line, but again it ended up being not too bad, and he was able to get the move done in the end. And well, a similarly placed move on the Australian at his home race, Tiamat Marduk. And, well, he went for a move on that guy, Vince. Vince defended the inside this time, and all the way around for Tiamat Marduk. He was very happy with that move, but the safety car is in this lap.
Thank you very much, Joseph. Excellent insight in Clipbook Corner. Safety car is in, and here's news. Kareem 17 jumped GB in the pits. So he now has complete control over when to pull the trigger, and there it is. We are back racing, ladies and gentlemen. Here in Australia, it's Kareem that has the lead. Lolinoba looks to the inside of GB, but it will be the RB in front of the Ferrari. Tiamat Marduk in fourth, that guy Vince in fifth, as Fabio, the Portuguese man of war, is through on Scotty Designs, by the way, for P13. Good move there from the McLaren as Tiamat Marduk looking to displace the championship leader. Round the outside, a little bit of contact as they try and make their way through. Even more contact as it gets a little bit rude and out of shape. But Tiamat Marduk up into third place with a bit of a shoulder barge. But it was committed, it was cutthroat. He's now in the podium places.
Yeah, just absolutely shoving Lolinoba over that high curb there on the exit of turn 4. I mean, I wouldn't be happy with that one, but there you go. That's racing. You have to just put your car in the right place. Tiamat Marduk did, and I think he just got a little bit of understeer as well. Maybe the tyres aren't up to temperature. Yeah, Kareem got very lucky. I wasn't sure with the timing not updating, but yes, indeed, it was just the case of, I think GB got held in the pits for another car passing, but that guy Vince seems to have also regained the pace here on the dry compound tyres. This is what you'll see in this race. Some drivers will be more confident in the changeable conditions, and then the pace will change to other drivers who will be absolutely on it from the get-go on the dry tyres. Also to take into account is the setup, as GB has been dropped out of DRS range for the moment from Kareem. Maybe we might see a charge from Kareem at the front, both of them on mediums, so no tyre difference at the moment. So GB has to get a move on here. How powerful that DRS is, it's so important to keep within range.
Like you say, there are many hungry sharks in the water waiting. If the RB driver can't get DRS, Kareem is absolutely flying out there, though. He's gone all guns blazing at the restart. Let's put it that way, as round goes Brandon Miles. No physical damage, and a little bit of a burnout there. Just emotional. Lap 15, though. Going to Kareem 70 is outside of a second, and that means, ladies and gentlemen, The DRS train can commence. Tiamat Marduk, Lolinova, who's trying to close in and regain that P3. Look to the outside, switches to the inside. It's ultra aggressive from the Ferrari man. But Tiamat Marduk shuts the door on that one and remains in P3. Can't get GB, of course. He's been saving battery this entire time. A committed first lap on the restart from the Australian. Lolinova bounces over the curbs. Tom 97 shows the nose on the inside on Concept 7. So many battles. It's a commentator's nightmare. But towards the penultimate corner we go. On board with the Alpine Ace as he looks to try and navigate his way through that traffic. Went for those harder compound tyres. We know how quick he is, but can he make those moves stick?
I think a lot of the drivers are being a lot more aggressive here just because they know they've got a limited time frame, a limited window of dry weather running where they can get some overtaking maneuvers done with the DRS. So they're going absolutely 110% like Lolinova was on Tiamat Marduk. It didn't happen at the moment, but from what it looks like, Karim is gaining most of his pace in the first and third sectors. So it wouldn't point to a setup thing because one of them is high speed, the other one is low speed. I think it just points to more confidence at this time on track, but it will even out. GB has kept that gap now at 1.4 seconds, so we'll have to wait and see. As Scotty Designs is all over the back of Infratic here, so will we see an overtake? Infratic also, I think, has some more damage on that front wing. Did I see correctly? I think it is, yes. More damage on the front wing. Was it replacing the pit stop? We don't know, but that is not going to help, as he's also got Matt 212 to contend with as well. Tiamat Marduk just... Oh, here we go. Concept 7, Joran van Heffen up the inside. What a just aggressive move, and Concept 7 will have to relinquish the position. Here comes Tom 97. He'll want to profit from anything going wrong. Concept 7 just bolts on the apex there. Not much he could do, but there's nowhere to go. They're all getting crowded out.
This is an amazing triple threat battle for P9 on the road. Safso sets the fastest lap of this race. Tom 97 to the inside of turn number 1. Academic move there from the rapid reserve up to P10 on the road. Next target is the Williams of Concept 7. Yorit knows it's not his fight. The Alpine is released into the top 10. We've also hearing, by the way, in the Twitch chat, hello everyone in the Creator Series Twitch chat, but Fabio, of course, left the session. We are hearing he has a problem, and that problem is, number 1, his front wing didn't get fixed, and number 2, his tyres were on 26%, and that was at the safety car restart. More problems, though, for the race leader, because GB is back in DRS range as they head to the chicane. Tiamat Marduk, though, sweeps through, burns the battery, committed move once again. We haven't had a repeat winner in Australia, but our top 2 could change that fact today.
I think that was tactical. They were both gaining on Karim. Karim lost 0.3 of a second. I think he just tried to burn the battery at the restart progressively to build that gap, but they used the DRS to overtake each other and then gain back a couple of tenths of a second on this lap, and it's worked beautifully. Look at that, 0.4 of a second, all of them line astern, and now Karim has nowhere to hide. Basically, he's going to have to lead this race from the front and be very careful about that DRS. You can see the battery flashing, so a lot of regen happening, and it's so difficult. 3 DRS zones around here, so you have to be on your toes. As I think in the last sector there has been a spinner. It's Matt 212. I think he's dropped it at the penultimate corner. Don't think there's any damage, but those tires maybe have been overheated, so we'll have to wait and see what happened there in Clipbook corner, but not ideal. I think Matt 212 joins Chappers, Ryan L83 and Mango Slayer as people who have pitted after the restart for various incidents.
Ben is monstrously quick, ladies and gentlemen. Scary pace from the Red Bull driver who has DRS, and Kareem 17 will feel like a sitting duck. The conditions may have changed, but regardless, the metaphor remains the same. Ben gets ultra close to thinking about a maneuver, but lets Kareem have the lead, remains in the slipstream. Now will save that battery and go for an attack potentially on the next lap.
Whoa.
What will Lolinova do? Switch to the inside. Contact, though. A bit too brave on the brakes. He's going to have to release GB back into P3. It was hyper aggressive. Again, another absolutely astonishing piece of racecraft right up until that last moment where it all became a bit too close for comfort.
Lolinova has so much confidence on the brakes. He's braking approximately 2 meters later than everyone else. That's creating the aggressive moves, and it happens at some point so you can get it done, but that one was just a little bit too aggressive into turn 13. You've got that curb on the inside. You just can't do that and expect to get away with it. Tiamat Marduk, I thought he was going for it then, but not quite. and so he'll have to wait again to the main straight. But you get that feeling that Karim just doesn't have an answer at the moment. Here it goes, Lolinova up the inside. He will get it done this time. That guy Vince, I think actually was defending the position there. Lolinova made a mistake somewhere because he was right on the back of GB, and now he dropped back to that guy Vince. So we'll hope to see another perspective of that. That could have been almost race ending for Lolinova. He's recovered, but he's outside of DRS.
Yeah, shoulder barges. Team at Marduk, we have a new race leader once again. Through goes the hometown hero. The Australian sensation moves up to the lead of the Australian Grand Prix. GB wasn't too far away from trying to pick the pocket of the Aston Martin ahead of him as well, which will be a weird feeling. But look at this. Your prediction versus my prediction, John. So far, those two and GB have been the class of the field in this race. We are also hearing Lolinova does have minor wing damage. No real surprise. That was immense contact with GB when he tried to make that move, and that's why he is being hounded by the likes of Vince behind.
Yeah, you saw the carbon fiber come off in confetti format in turn 13. So yeah, unfortunate. I thought he might have gotten away with it, just a visual thing, but apparently not. And that is going to be so painful, especially when it starts to rain again. You need that front wing, and it's not going to be there. So we may see some understeering moments here. But as predicted, Team at Marduk has not driven off into the distance. My initial prediction and Carl's definitive prediction is certainly coming good at the moment, but it seems to be that the front three are definitely pulling away with this one. Lolinova trying to hang on, but that guy Vince doesn't have the pace to sort of swap DRS with him, if anything. Well, here we go. Karim for the lead. I'll interrupt my commentary to say Team at Marduk down to P2. So it is a case of battery. Team Radio.
Something's happened to Lolly on this lap. He's been dropped. All right, let's go, boys. Run, run, run.
And run they are doing, aren't they, Carl?
They are indeed. Easier said than done, of course. Lolinova still hanging on in there. Very minor front wing damage, but the championship leader, like you say, clearly not short of confidence. But like you say, does have to think about it a little bit. If it does go wrong, if he goes for one committed move too many, then it just can wreak havoc on that potential championship. It's still a long way to go. This round and 3 after it to decide the champion for season number 12. Still plenty of time for things to topple on its head as Kareem 17 leads us into lap number 21. Tiamat Marduk in P2 with GB in P3. The first 8 cars on the road all remain within DRS of one another, including Tuki, Safso and Grid Jokes, who are doing extremely well to hold on. Again though, Tiamat Marduk finding confidence in the dirty air where others haven't. He's remaining so incredibly close.
Yeah, it's mesmerizing to watch. Also, Tom 97 stuck behind Concept 7, so that is going to be disastrous if he can't get past. He should get the DRS this lap and maybe do an overtake. Joran van Heffen has been dropped as well. So Tiamat Marduk to the inside is going to be another pass for the lead. I think they just don't have enough battery to defend at this stage for more than 2 laps, so it's going to be ebbing and flowing, as they say. But for the moment, GB68 cannot get past as into the top 2. And Lolinova going for a move here as Ryan L83 gets a penalty for corner cutting. Sadly, just not Ryan's day at the moment. But look at this battle. Lolinova once again so aggressive, glued to the diffuser of GB68. No move possible in this sector 3. So I don't know how he does it. He's so aggressive over the curbs. This is ridiculous, Carl, but it's mesmerizing to watch.
99 problems. Wing damage is not one of them for our Italian stallion in that Ferrari car. Someone commented quite comically, in fact, last week that there should be some game played with the amount of times I said that phrase. But you know what? You can start it all over again. Lap 22. Tiamat Marduk once again the race leader. Still those 8 cars remain in DRS, but that 8-car train could very quickly turn to tennis. Lolly went wide. Massive lockup. Vince has another opportunity. It's usually bad news to be on the outside of the left-hander. Not if you're the Mercedes man. Through to P4 he goes, and that's another place drop by the championship leader, and Tuki will be in hot pursuit next.
I have a funny feeling that that will be a repeat of the mistake earlier. It looks like he locked up last time, so just running wide, and you've got no grip on the outside of turn 3, so not much you can do. Although, Loninoba's all the way back over the... Oh, he's up the inside! He's got the move done, perhaps. No, that guy Vince around the outside, over the curb there. Possibly a warning for cutting that so much, but how aggressive are these two? They just want the track position. Ironically, that's put them outside of DRS. They are hurting each other's race and everyone behind them.
Here comes Tuki as well. I thought he had the exponential momentum out of turn 13 as Vince chopped across Lolinova at the very last. Not to be, though, remains in P5. does the Ferrari man. McLaren man is still the man on the move and in the groove. Tom 97 has gained by a second, pretty much just on this lap. Very quickly, this is going to be a 10-car train as Tukey peels out of the slipstream. Those engines are going to be slow roasting one another. And look at this, for even more news. The top two have broken away. GB now leads this DRS train from 3rd down to nearly 10th place. Kareem and Tiamat Marduk in a class of their own at the moment.
Yeah, I think GB made a mistake in either turn 13 or 14 of that last lap, just running wide and possibly into the gravel. I did see it out the corner of my eye, but wasn't quite sure. The time confirms it. He's back in within DRS range. He's probably had to drain the battery, so he's going to have to wait. But once again, that puts that guy Vince also in an opportunity to lose DRS, as these two are going to swap the DRS now to hopefully, well, for them anyway, get GB out of that DRS. It's worked for the moment. 9/10 of a second. He's holding on for dear life. He's going to have to drain the battery again. But for the moment, they are setting an electric pace. And Tom 97 has done some great work to get back within DRS of Grid Jokes. So all the way down to the P11, they have the DRS, as once again Grid Jokes battling with Safso as well. Moves left, right and sensors. You get the sense as well that these medium tyres may be slow cooking themselves as well.
Indeed they are. Tom 97, a man overflowing with confidence. As look at this, we're blessed with sensational sunshine over the Albert Park circuit, as on board with the man that started from plumb last on this grid. He's already halved the arrears. He could go all the way should he decide to do so. He's got it in him. He absolutely does. Next target is that green machine of Grid Jokes, and it is a 10-car train for the race lead. Wide at turn number 3, though, goes Tom 97. We've seen quite a few mistakes at turn number 3. People just not judging the overspeed quite right here, John.
Yeah, it's definitely just dirty air. I think they're trying to just stay as close as possible. You want to be about 4/10 of a second, 4 to 5/10 of a second to be able to get that overtake done with the DRS. So it means you have to drive so aggressively through that sector 1 and the beginning of sector 2 that most drivers just can't make it stick. They lock up in the trail braking. It's so easy to do even with modulating the brake bias. And you can see Tom 97 so aggressive. I just want to point out Lolinoba, Tukey, Safso and Tom 97 are all on the hard compound tyre, so they will start to get an advantage as well. And you can see it already in the cornering. Grid Jokes looks like he was parked on the apex there, whereas Tom 97 all over that diffuser, and we could even see more advantage gained. How much will Lolinoba regret losing that bit of front wing in a few laps' time?
Simply spellbinding to watch Tom 97 at work as he just commands the car round Albert Park. Shows the nose to the inside. You know what's coming next. It's a premonition. You know what's going to happen. We've seen this script before. To burn the battery towards turn number 3. To try something cutthroat and committed. There it is. Down the inside. Shows the nose of the Alpine. But Grid Jokes privy to it. Keeps in P8. But this is equally going to help Tom 97. The fact that the Sauber does not have that overall slipstream advantage. Look how close he can remain. And so that puts strength back into the Alpine driver's camp. He didn't make the first move, but it makes it so much easier to make that subsequent send possible. As with DRS, with slipstream to boot, top through goes Tom.
Oh my God, dirty
In
air.
radio here.
Suddenly from driving in clean air, you just drive in dirty and just feel it so much.
So just referencing the clean air there that he was driving in, he was down about 2 seconds. He's caught that up now, and now he's stuck in the dirty air. I think the only advantage he has is the tyres. Sorry for interrupting you, Carl, by the way. But yeah, it's one of those things that you just have to keep your head sort of centered and just keep yourself calm, because I think he's forgetting he's got a tyre advantage, to be fair, and that will pay a huge amount of performance in a few laps' time.
No, I'm sorry for interrupting you, John, to be honest with you. Do you know what? I'll throw it right back at you. And do you know what? I'm glad you spoke, because that is a very, very critical point. As we highlight the championship leader. What can he do from this position? Stuck in a rut a bit in the DRS train. Knows he's got to get a move on. Perhaps desperation creeping in for the championship leader, but he cannot afford to do anything overzealous to push the limits more than he's doing, because the likes of Tom 97 are making their way through the field. Tukey is practically darting around the diffuser of the Maranello concourse in P5. The lone Ferrari in this race. as Lolinoba, again, will keep close, but that guy, Vince, is even closer to his target of GB. Won't burn the battery too much, will keep it as close as he can, just to let him know he's there. Loom large in the mirrors, will the Silver Arrows car, and Tom 97, again, closing in on Safso, but then, in contrast, a 3-second time penalty. Ladies and gentlemen, it will get closer and closer to that particular penalty point. Speaking of which, Lolinoba on 2 warnings. One more warning he is done as Safso leaves the session. That is devastating news for the RB driver. Also our race leader, TMF Marduk, he's on 2 warnings as well. Plenty of drivers just over pushing the boundaries a little bit.
I was about to say as well, leading on from what you said, just the fact that, well, Matt 2-on-2 again for a penalty, as well as Safso's getting overtaken. Tom 97, I think, just pushing to make sure he retains the DRS and just the pace and momentum here. I really just think it's the case of every driver over pushing the limit. Grid jokes going for Safso as well. Safso has rejoined, not in time though to defend the position, I don't think. So grid jokes will be side by side, will get the move done. And I think Concept 7's going to try as well, although Safso should rejoin on this next straight, hopefully. But it's not disastrous for Safso. He's still within that DRS train. Not too much has been lost. He just needs to rejoin exactly right now and take control of the car. And I think he just has, see, looking at that maneuver, trying to defend. But the crucial bit now is that everybody is sliding. They're pushing the limits of the cars to the utmost. And I think they're just overdoing it because everybody's trying to get the upper hands just to show a bit of dominance mid-race, and that means that even the hard compound runners are sliding the car. Everybody's going to be overheating, and that just means that when you want to do the move, you're sliding, you can't make it work. You either get damage or you have to back out of the maneuver. So we might see some drive. Oh, Lolinoba up the inside once again. My days, he just goes for moves when you don't think about it into the penultimate corner. Last time I saw a move down there was about 2006, but he nearly made it work.
Ah, the good old days. Tom 97 with a carbon copy maneuver, by the way. 3-second penalty, no problem. Now he can just throw all the eggs into the basket of being first on the track. No inhibitions whatsoever. Does make the move on Tukey and up into P6 he goes. Perhaps that was Lolinoba's intention because he knew that Tom was approaching and he knows exactly what could come next. On lap number 28, rapidly, we're at the halfway point of the race, ladies and gentlemen. Has been swapped, sees a yellow flag. Ryan 83 has binned it into the wall. We have another safety car as we reach the fulcrum point, and it's all going to get very interesting because in 10 minutes, light rain will be emerging again.
And yeah, what a time to have a safety car. It's too early to pit for wet tyres, so we're going to probably have a restart before the rain. And it's the question now, do you go for a fresh set of tyres? Give up the track position? I think everybody on mediums has to pit. Now, whether they go onto the soft compound tyres in anticipation, we'll have to wait and see. This is going to be just sit there with popcorn and see what happens here. Will TMF Marduk be able to jump Karim in the pit lane as well? Will GB get revenge in the pit lane? Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. And yeah, Ryan, it's just not been his day really, and I think it was just going from bad to worse. And who stays out? Oh, Karim stays out, and he sort of jinked left and right into there and just stayed out at the last possible second. TMF Marduk did the opposite, and I think maybe was baited into staying out by TMF Marduk. Karim is the only one not in the pits at the moment, as far as I can tell.
Wet tyres for TMF Marduk.
No way.
Now, this is really throwing the eggs in the basket.
Wet tyres for
they
most
know.
of them.
Yeah, exactly. Wet tyres for GB, that guy Vince, and a smattering of others as they head into the pit lane. This is where it gets interesting, of course. Now we don't have that definitive crossover point with that first safety car. We have a slightly more interesting set of affairs where that rain will be turning up in only a few minutes. So now people gamble. Will the rain arrive in time? Will it be heavy enough when the safety car peels into the pit lane? Just watching the cloud cover over Albert Park as much as possible to try and ascertain exactly what the weather is doing. According to our stats, 8 minutes until that light rain emerges. We are at the fulcrum point of this race, ladies and gentlemen. Kareem 7T leads. Most of the hard tyre runners have also followed suit that were in that lead train. But a few brave and bold individuals are going full send for that race win. However, we have a man with all seconds team radio for TMF Marduk, ladies and gentlemen.
Radar suggests some weather's going to hit in around 5 minutes' time, so stay on your toes. Okay, dries seem like the best tyre for now.
I think we have to. I think we have to get that track position, you know.
Oh, here we go. This is the moment we were all waiting for, ladies and gentlemen. Quite unbelievable, but, ladies and gentlemen, we have some of the answers to the queries that we have had, and for that, we shall throw it over to Clipper Corner and Joseph Black.
Thank you very much. And we've got a number of clips to show you. The first one was the first little bit of contact between Lolinova and Tiamat Marduk. And that's a theme, Lolinova running a little bit wide. Tiamat Marduk just moved across. And in the end, there was contact between the two from Tiamat Marduk's perspective as well. It looked as though... it looked as though it was on the actual race itself. Lolinova running a little bit wide. Tiamat Marduk desperately trying to hold his way in, and then this is the moment that Tiamat Marduk wasn't particularly happy about. He didn't feel as though he was given enough space. I'm going to leave that up to you. But the first safety car was caused by a skill issue, some may call it, from Alex, and this is the difference between the conditions. We might see this in a minute with no intermediate tyres. He was really struggling, and that was a slide from himself that saw him out of the race. That was our first safety car caused, and that is the reason why. We do have a couple more moments, car requested, that we had a look at a clip from Matt 212, a little bit of a spin from himself. That's a little bit earlier on in the lap. We'll go to later on. That's a little bit too late. And that's also a little bit too late. We'll go to this point, shall we? And, well, it just looks as though for himself it was a bit too much grass on the exit. There's been a few drivers sliding a bit wide, and he was the first real victim of a moment like that. But the rest is pretty much a compilation of Lolinova big sends. Here's one on GB to the inside line, and he was just about making a bit of contact. That's where he picked up that wing damage. And, well, it's very, very little, so it shouldn't affect him too much, but that is the situation that he has. And then later on, we also have a couple of moments as well, Lolinova, but this is basically a Lolinova compilation at this point, running slightly wide. This is where that guy Vince was able to take the opportunity and try to pull alongside, but couldn't make his way through in the end. But slightly later on, he got another chance on Lolinova. This is about 2 laps later, maybe even 4 if I can do my maths correctly. Another look up from Lolly. Through went that guy Vince, and then just before the safety car came out, a couple of laps before, this is Lolinova with another huge lunge on the inside line of that guy Vince. Vince able to hold on to the position, Lolinova backing out, but that is that's us all caught up in the action that we didn't quite see on our end.
Alright, let's do a little race recap just before we get back into racing. You've seen a few of the drivers go out in the wet tyres early. I got a funny feeling this is going to be the right choice, but we're halfway through the race. It's been an absolute banger so far. Alex was the first big retirement, as you saw, smacked into the wall, and very unfortunate. And now Ryan L has also crashed out, bringing out a second safety car. Up at the front, Ben Daly was been all over the lead with Kareem as well. We had a messy moment earlier on after sending on Lolly in turn 1, costing a couple of positions. Lolly starting on the back foot. Tom's had an incredible start. As usual, Tom things are loving it as well. And GB has been all over as well. Mistake nearly handed the lead to Kareem, but Kareem eventually managed to jump him on the pit stops, which was quite cool. For the back, Vince reclaimed the position of Lolly as well, who's been struggling, but Ben Daly's all over it at the minute. Took he had a skinny moment dipping onto the grass, but saved it. Fabio hasn't recovered quite well. He had a moment into the wall, and he's had disconnection issues. Unfortunately, not looking like his day. Don't forget as well, please, to catch up on all the drama and highlights from this race and the rest of the F1 Creator Series. Follow us on all the social media platforms. Content will be dropping all week long, and you'll get to see different POVs and analysis throughout the week. It's always a pleasure doing these races. It's lap 31 of 58, and the safety car, I imagine, will be in this lap, so I think we're going to hand it back to the commentators.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Joseph. Welcome back to racing here in the Creator Series. Round number 7. Safety car is in. And, well, rumours are abound that the rain has started somewhere. For now, though, at least, Kareem 70 has the luxury of once again pulling the trigger at the restart, which he does. At the exit of the final corner, the slick tyre runners will get to work. And we go back racing once again. Crossing onto lap number 32. Lolinova on the hard compound tyres. He will be rapid. Wing damage or not, it doesn't matter. Those tyres are going to be lethal once they're back in the operating window. Mango Slayer bows out of this race. It has been a torrid time, but what about the weather? What's going to happen here? It looks like, I can't quite see, but I think with an eagle eye, it is spitting with rain. on the track in the nick of time for those wet tyre runners. They've just got to be patient with it. They know it will come back to them. Keep the temperatures in order, and it will all pay off handsomely.
I think there's been an incident with Infratic and possibly Scotty Designs just before the safety car came in, because I noticed one of them was stationary on track. So that is unfortunate if that's the case. One thing you've got to remember also is that these guys on the dry tyres for the moment, they have to keep it tidy. They have to try and bridge the gap. So it's so important to bridge the gap to Team Mard at 2 seconds now. At the moment, it's climbing rapidly. It's just a question of how intense that rain is going to get, because when you overheat these wet compound tyres, it can take multiple laps to cool them off again. So Team Mard can't push that much, and it's just going to be questionable how much pace they lose. I mean, they've lost approximately 3 or 4 seconds on this lap. What's it going to be next lap? We'll have to wait and see. But there's moves up the front. Safso trying to go for an overtake. Lolinova quite slow on this restart, so everything's bunching up.
Well, it's a French connection. Tom 97 in the Alpine car, trying to arrive right on schedule. Safso down the inside of Gridjoy and into Tom 97. Massive contact as he was just too brave on the brakes, and that will spell a disastrous scenario for the RB driver, who fishtails out of the exit and onto turn 4. There go the wet tyre runners as well through that said turn number 4. It's all kicking off as the weather just gets more and more treacherous on our telemetry. Light rain is less than 1 minute. The track is almost at that optimal point for the wet tyre runners to start thinking about cooling it down. Lolinova moves back through to the race lead. The championship leader, you can't keep him down for long. Even with wing damage, he takes the lead off Kareem 70. But when will that weather start to emerge? Ben's only lost 3 seconds to the cars ahead. They're not gaining much out there.
No, they aren't, but where will they wear out the wet tyres too much in anticipation of the rain? We've also got an overtake. I think GB getting challenged by Matt 212. Yeah, Matt 212 goes past GB a little bit wide, but still RG Bargy. GB may still get this one. Matt's on the soft compound tyres. He still should have the advantage, but this is your first indication of what the performance is like. Can GB hold the pace versus Matt? It's looking like Matt is struggling a lot on those soft compound tyres, but he does get through, and that does mean that there's still some sort of performance delta, as it looks like everybody's getting swarmed at the back here. It's, well, I mean, up the inside, GB again. That guy Vince this time goes past, but so it's looking like a lot of drivers are stopping for the wet compounds now.
Tom 97 and Concept 7 bail out. So does Safso, courtesy of the damage. But some of the lead train already bailing onto those wet compound tyres. As, like we say, it gets more and more tricky to judge how much grip you have. Here on lap number 34, the top 3, these are the gaps. Lolly's absolutely broken free at the front of the field. Nearly a 2-second gap to Kareem 17. Tiamat Marduk catching up though. He's catching now on those wet compound tyres. No real surprise there, but there's the consideration for you all. Tom 97 and Concept, they're down in 14th and 15th. They've lost so much time by not making the brave and bold gamble. What are Ben's tyres looking like, though? What are all of these guys' tyres looking like? That's a question that we might have the answers to in a moment. Towards the end of lap number 34, surely the top 3 have got to box, John. Surely.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. At the moment, it's not looking like the times are disastrous, so maybe another lap, but it's always the case of going that lap too much. I think what we failed to take into consideration is that everybody's tyres in the lead 3 are 22 laps old, and so on the restart, they were already short of grip, as it looks like everybody... no, Kareem and Gridjokes are in, so they are pitting, and I'm presuming that's for the wet tyre, as there are still some overtakes going on.
We can see Tiamat Marduk is catching, and now really catching, ladies and gentlemen. Lolinova's left it 1 lap too late. Could that spell trouble in Championship Corner? It could well do. Where does Kareem 70 emerge? Where does Gridjokes emerge? Tom 97 has undercut the pair of them. The track was primed and ready, even for wet tyres at that particular moment. The Aston Martin man in P12. Concept jumps Gridjokes as well. The undercut paying off handsomely. Lolinova's already lost 2 seconds, and there into the wall goes Jorrit van Heffen. Contact on the side pod, no front wing, and a safety car might well have saved Lolinova's bacon.
Yeah, I think that was contact, if I'm correct, with Matt 212, and basically just clouted into the barrier, and it caused a pinball effect. Just Jorrit van Heffen just got absolutely punted to the inside via the ricochet, and that is the front wing gone. They're still in the race, though, which is surprising because that was a huge contact with the barrier. I'm sure we'll see that one in Clipbook Corner at some point, but the safety car, I won't say it saves their bacon. They've still got to pit, but it will at least limit the damage a little bit. That gap has not been produced enough, though, for Lolinoba. Look at that. Only 2 seconds. So this race has just gone on its head at the moment. The question is, will the people that pitted, first of all, for the wets, have enough tyres left?
Well, Lolinoba, even with a delta time of the safety car, can't stop Ben from catching him. That's how treacherous it is. As into the pits bows the Ferrari, and enter centre stage the Australian sensation who leads his home Grand Prix once again in Creator Series tonight. Vince moves up to P2. GB will round out that top 3. What is the damage for the Ferrari, though? Towards the end of the pit lane, their teleport. That might need to be investigated by some stewards. But out onto the track he goes, down to P7, then to P8. Will it be P9 on the road? Lolinoba carries on in P8. Crucially, a few positions ahead of those he was that were challenging him, in that lead train, the likes of Tom 97 and Kareem 70. So the damage very much limited.
Matt 212 has stayed out. I just want to point this out on the soft compound tyres. Is he judging that the dampness of the track, let's say, won't get sufficient enough for the wet weather tyres for enough laps for it to warrant a pit stop? Those soft tyres are probably going to be toast anyway at the end of this wet weather running, so I'm not sure what the strategy is there. It's a bold one if it works out, but he'll have to pit again for new tyres before the end of the race anyway. So a bit of an inconvenient strategy, I think, for Matt 212. He's been caught between a rock and a hard place, and not being able to make the decision has cost him ultimately. Now, if he pits, he will drop literally to last place, or maybe just in front of Safso, to be fair. There is a sizable gap there. But now looking at the tyres, the leaders have done already 7 laps on their wet weather tyres, and presumably the majority of those laps overheating them. So there might be still some performance to be had for those that pitted under safety car or just before the safety car.
It might not be all bad, though. This rain stops in 13 minutes. It will stop before the race end. So Lolinoba's got to use those tyres well. But equally, those that were brave and bold, those that played the gamble, that bet it all on red, has come out extremely handsomely. We're going to head over and find out some more answers to the queries. Let's throw it over to Clipbook Corner. What have you got for us, Joe?
Well, I've got a couple of things here. Firstly, here's the cause of the safety car. Jorrit van Heffen, a very good exit from Tukey, and then into the wall from Tukey, into the wall from Jorrit, and that was the cause of the safety car. Bit of a luck one, if you ask me, but that is the reason for it. And then we have a couple of moments that I'd just like to show us, or at least one particular moment. I'll show it first from the perspective of Grid Jokes, and that will be a huge send from Safso, and that is the reason he finds himself down the order. Grid Jokes finds himself with wing damage as well. Not ideal. Then we can get it from the perspective of the man himself, Safso, who, most likely just missed his braking point. But here he goes, straight down the inside, was never making the corner, and he looked a bit sheepish about that one.
Thank you very much, Joseph. Well, that's the level of chaos and conundrums we can bring. Look at Safso fishtailing around. Absolute hero. The power slide prince, our PS1 Hagrid is. Lap number 37 emerges in on us, and the rain's already a couple of minutes closer to being out. Do you know what, Joseph? While you're still here, while you're still on our screens, who's really impressed you? You've obviously been hopping around Twitch chats here and there, but who's really impressed you? Maybe someone not so obvious, perhaps?
I mean, of course, it's hard to look past the race leaders in terms of who's really impressing me, but I'm impressed, and I've seen quite a few moves from Matt 212 on those soft compound tyres. He's been slipping, he's been sliding, but he has been fighting all the way throughout and has kept confident.
Brilliant. Oh, fantastic suggestion. John, same question I will pose to you as well. Who's really impressed you so far this race?
I'm going to say the boring answer. Everyone. I don't know how they've kept the cars on the track. I mean, if you've ever played any racing game, to be fair, and you've gone for the wrong compound tyre or the wrong wet weather tyre, let's say, and you drive on the track, you just have no grip and you are fishtailing everywhere. And it's amazing to me that we've still got 17 cars in the race, to be fair. So I definitely say, though, Tiamat Marduk has him impressed just via the right strategy calls. It makes such a difference to know and have the confidence to pick and just go, that's where I'm directing the race, that's where I think the performance is, and it's worked out for him so far. Will we see a counteract to that? Will we see another twist in it? I think so. But for the moment, basically anybody that chose to go for those wet weather tyres, bold strategy, but perfect strategy.
10 minutes left of this rain, then we think it's going to dry up. 10 minutes. Inters look like the best tyre for now.
We have the...
Well, there's Jeff, ladies and gentlemen. Ever the savvy one. We sent him an email about the wildcard, we promise.
Indeed, yeah, I think just the engineers can't get their head around this one. They're doing the maths and thinking, hang on, intermediates, no, we can't do this, we can't use the wets, that's illegal. Well, otherwise it's illegal to use the intermediates this race, so everyone will be getting the wrong strategy info, and I think that is what's made it more difficult to choose the right strategy. Normally you ask the engineer when the crossover period is. The engineer sometimes tells you, if you're lucky, when that optimum changeover period is. That won't happen here, so difficult, and experience counts in these conditions.
Couldn't agree more with you. And you know what? We highlighted him briefly towards the early part of this lap as the safety car could well be peeling into the pit lane. Probably not, though, because Jorrit van Heffen is a country mile behind, catching up to the back of the pack. Safety cars can be called in late, though. Make no mistake about that. We are waiting ever so anticipatingly, just in case. And no, Bernd Mailander will be staying out for one extra lap. We highlighted him, though. The man in 5th place, Adam Sarnason. Scott Taylor is punching the air as we speak. But he, too, was brave and bold. He, too, made the gamble to put the wet tyres on. And suddenly, Red Bull are coming off. Well, the most handsome of any team this race. 1st and 5th as it stands. Immaculate strategy from the pair of them.
I'm sorry, I'm just going to interrupt this by saying hold the phone a second. Jorrit van Heffen's on mediums. I just want to point that out. That's why he's not catching the safety car. And I've just been taken aback looking at the telemetry here that Jorrit, in these treacherous conditions, there's not even a dry line. He is gambling even more than the wet weather runners did. This is incredible. The rain is still falling. But as long as he doesn't catch the safety car, there's a chance for it to stay out another lap. We don't really want that, but it may happen. I mean, this is at 6D chess at this point.
The ultimate Sonny Hayes strategy, ladies and gentlemen, from Jorrit van Heffen, the Flying Dutchman, as he heads round turn number 4 towards the sweeping turn 5. He will gradually mosey his way to the back of this safety car queue. Meanwhile, we are keeping an eagle eye on telemetry, because that's all I've seemed to be doing so far. 8 minutes until that rain stops. So it is closing in, not quite quickly enough for the mediums to be absolutely peerless in pace, but safety car is in this lap, so Jorrit is going to be praying, for goodness sakes, that the clock ticks, and quickly. Tiamat Marduk this time will be the one to lead us away, and you know what? All the top 3 have really impressed me. They went brave and bold. They've been at the forefront of the conversation for victory all the way through this race, and they see themselves in the pound seat, but it's all going to come down to this restart as well.
Yeah, for sure. One thing I'll just say before the restart is you want to have any type of tread in this scenario. If you have slicks, especially from my rallying experience, you'll go off straight away. You'll lose a lot of time. Green flag is called. Now, when will Tiamat Marduk go? Will it be late? I think it will be a late charge around the last turn. You really don't have too many ways of restarting this at Australia. He's gone before the last turn, and that's caught that guy Vince out a little bit. GB will follow a lot closer. Actually, GB's lost a lot of speed on the curb there. So far, it's looking like only Brendan Miles might be challenged here into turn 1. Let's have a look. No, it's in the background as well. I think it's Scotty Design being challenged by Tom. Tom does get past. What a great move there into turn 1. And everyone, I think, is just tiptoeing on these tyres.
Rapid restart as all our drivers descend through the rapids. Kareem 17 passes his teammate as well. So does Concept 7, or at least he tries to. A stout defence from the Flying Scotsman. Scotty Designs, by the way. Well, here on lap number 40. Ben leads that guy Vince from GB. An excellent restart from Tiamat Marduk, who judged that to absolute perfection, has now got the gap and comfort to use. Rolling over on those new on wet tyres. We'll see what his progress will be looking like. Tom 97 is absolutely flying out there, as is Kareem 17, who uses the compromise of the momentum to follow on through. Great intuition from the Aston Martin driver.
Yeah, I think Scotty Designs let Kareem pass before turn 3 as well on this lap, so great teamwork or a mistake that turned into at least a gain for his teammate, that's for sure. These two are on the charge, aren't they? They pitted later for tyres, and I think that performance from Kareem at least, and Tom is on 6 lap old tyres as well, they are going to be able to use it as much as possible. Jorrit sadly had left the session a little bit, and so he's down on pace as well. 8 seconds to the nearest car. It's going to be so difficult to claw that gap back, but as long as it doesn't go to more than 30 seconds, there's still a chance to gain positions here. We'll have to wait and see, as everyone, I think, just managing the pace at the moment. Very slidey though, so I don't think it's full wet conditions. Everyone will be overheating their tyres, and they're already looking for wet patches.
Grid jokes past Scotty Designs. Infratic also trying to follow suit as everyone peels to the inside. Scotty goes wide though, pressure pays off, and the Portuguese man of war slices and dices through to P12. Chapper's also looking to make his way through. Matt 2 on 2 though. Complete commitment round the outside from the Mercedes driver, who left it a little bit too late to pit on to those wet compound tyres, but he's now a man on the move and in the groove. Concept through to P9 on Brandon Miles. Ben has got that gap outside of a second, but now we're back at square one, where there is that bottleneck. The dirty air wreaks havoc on the cars that are following. So difficult to get close and fries away those crucial overtakes, which Safso is proving is no problem. He's committed, sliding the car on round the outside. It is absolute divinity in motion, but can it be heaven sent for the RB driver? And it is a marvellous manoeuvre executed.
I think Chapper's struggling a little bit on controller there. You could see on traction he just couldn't get the pedal down, and so it's really tricky, this crossover period where the tyres are still overheating. And I think Safso out of position. He's just proving that you have to have that half a second's delta on the car in front to judge an overtake properly and get it done. So really tricky. Meanwhile, Timo Marduk 1.5 seconds out in front. He's clearing off. You can see a line forming there a little bit. I don't think it's a dry line, but it's at least it's a slightly less damp line, let's call it. And so I think drivers are just going to have to play with that, see what they can get in terms of performance. But once again, it's the case of GB and Tukey, Adam Sanderson have to try and maybe find a way past that guy Vince, because the pace may be not there, at least on this lap, on the past few laps. Concept 7 with a 3-second time penalty for track limits, and that's not going to be the last one, I can guarantee you that. It's treacherous conditions out there, although I would say, perhaps, has the rain stopped?
It's getting close. Apparently rain stopping in 3 minutes. It's definitely a lot lighter. We can't really see any droplets on the halo as well. So this is it. The drying phase of the track has begun. Meanwhile, we highlight this man because I'm impressed by Tukey's pace. He is hounding GB. That is no easy feat to do, but he is making it run like clockwork. So is this man, Lolinoba. Had the dispatch of one Red Bull earlier on. He's trying to get the other, but no. Adam Sanderson defends, does his due diligence to help his teammate out at the very forefront of the field. It's brought Tom 97 and Kareem back into this train as they head through towards the right-hander of turn 13. Not the happiest of hunting grounds for the Ferrari. That doesn't leave him short of confidence though. Power slides round the outside as Tom 97 looked to try and pick up the pieces as well. Great move from the championship leader. Down the inside of the penultimate corner. Squeeze from Adam Sanderson. But Tom 97, he can pour a pint into a shot glass, ladies and gentlemen. Tries to make his way round, but Adam again defends diligently.
Yeah, this is going to be so difficult for Adam Sanderson. He's got 2 quick drivers behind him. I think that was an overtake being shaped up there from Tom 97. It might be side by side, but definitely everybody struggling and more. You can definitely see it's clearing up. That is Matt 212 trying to get past Brandon Miles. I don't think he's made it work though. He had to slow up too much. And Jorrit van Heffen 30 seconds behind, so that gap has increased too much. It will be a net time loss unless the wet weather runners continue on around the track, and for some reason the delta just closes up in 1 lap. It is possible to gain a couple of seconds, let's say, so we'll have to wait and see. But Lolinoba, so aggressive, I just want to say. It's incredible to see that he's in the fight for the championship and he's just not letting up in terms of the aggressiveness of his moves.
Couldn't agree more with you. I'm keeping a very eagle eye on the telemetry because look at Yorip, the gap that was 31 seconds. He's already gained a couple, makes a little bit of a mistake into turn 3. It's still not completely clear, it's still treacherous, but those dry compound tyres, they are going to make the difference. Now down below 30 seconds, 1.5 seconds gained on just this lap. The confidence is ramping up, the track is getting better and better, and no surprise, the leading train is peeling into the pit lane. On go the dry tyres once again, ladies and gentlemen, as Yorip, the litmus test proves that it is absolutely time. Where do they all emerge though? We've seen GB already get held up in the pit lane. Will our race leader Tiamat Marduk be held up in the pit lane? With all of this melee going on, it looks like no, he is completely fine and will remain in the lead provisionally of this race.
Yeah, lots. Everybody diving into... GB nearly lost it on pit exit there. Onto the grass. That could leave Tukey to get a maneuver here because he'll have a little bit less traction. And now it's all about confidence. The track will be probably slightly damp still, so you've just got to get going. I think maybe somebody's lost it out of the pit exit. Looks like they're all facing the same, or the right direction, let's say. So I think maybe just a tap of the wall there for somebody in the midfield. For GB, it's not looking like the performance is there at the moment, but he'll hope to keep within DRS range. Just looking at that, I mean, it's looking really, really dicey for that guy Vince and GB to not get the DRS, and they're going to have to work together now to get back to Tiamat Marduk. Tiamat Marduk will hope that he has the performance now on the dry sets of tyres as well.
Tukey could be in a podium place, ladies and gentlemen. GB shuts the door on that. He says, not today, my friend. Not today. I'll let you deal with the Italian stallion instead, who is an absolute racehorse. Through down the inside goes the championship leader. It's an academic move, courtesy of the compromise in momentum. Tukey not giving it up, though. Looks for the switchback. Not going to happen. Grid Jokes and Concept 7. No surprise, they peel into the pit lane. And once again, it is all square in terms of the context of this race. Ben will be our race leader. That guy Vince about 2 seconds behind in his conquest for the lead. GB in P3 with Lolinoba, Tukey, Tom 97, Kareem 17, Adam Sanderson up to P8. Scott Taylor's punching the air once again. Infratic up to P9, and then emerging from the pit lane is Concept 7, who will still, after all of that, be in the top 10 of this race.
I mean, yeah, it's a great drive. It's just incredible to see what opportunities you can create when conditions are changeable. I tell you what, Tiamat Marduk is creating those conditions. He's just pulling away at the moment. That guy Vince not under pressure at the moment from GB either. I mean, Lolinoba is going to have to get a move on here to get into the top 3 and maybe challenge Tiamat Marduk now because they're running out of laps to get stuff done. Well, talking about that, Lolinoba has got past with the DRS, but will he be challenged now into the braking zone of turn 13? We've seen this happen so many times. I think Lolinoba might have a second helping of DRS. In fact, nobody got the DRS there. So it's maybe even not DRS activated. I'm not quite sure at the moment, but he's definitely defended that P3, and it's interesting to see that most people are on the mediums, but dauntingly, Tiamat Marduk, who's also creating a gap in front, is on the hard compound tyres. Not ideal for everybody behind.
Lolinoba with a little bit of a mistake at the penultimate corner. Saw the tyre smoke. GB smells blood in the water. Not as much as Tukey, though, who was vying for a podium place. He's still got GB in his clutches. Kareem 17 with the fastest lap. A 118-point treble one. Again, looking for a return on investment in this race. Tom 97 closes in on Tukey. Switches to the inside of the McLaren, but again, can't quite make the move stick. You just have to loom large in the mirrors enough, though, and people can make mistakes. Speaking of which, Scotty Designs, by the way, with a 3-second time penalty. Those will keep raining in as well. Everyone just has to be a little bit careful out there.
Yeah, the drivers at the moment on the hunt, Lolinoba, Kareem and Tom 97 have the absolute pace. The only drivers in a low 118 at the moment, as that guy Vince is being challenged by Lolinoba. I think he's got it done even before the chicane, as Tom is trying to find a way past Tukey as well. Not working for the moment, but my days, this is a brilliant battle. That guy Vince has held on as much as he can. Lolinoba has the pace at the moment. You have to be sure that he'll catch within a couple of laps at this pace at the moment. That was dicey, wasn't it, between Kareem and Tom, nearly taking each other out. And they're just so decisive on their moves that they don't leave any margin of error. This could end so badly really quick.
Absolutely. They've got to use those mediums while they're on the car, though. 17.8 from Lolinoba, who is absolutely, he's in zen, he's in flow state. To quote a certain movie, he's flying. But 1.9 seconds worth of a gap. Those mediums, you have to use them early. The hards will cross over. They will have the overall pace as Vince does close in on the Ferrari driver in the braking zone. But these two can work together, remember. There's no reason why they can't. Lolly might be wise to try and avoid that, though. Vince hasn't had the pace compared to Ben, so it's probably in the Italian Stallion's best interest to try and keep that track position. He knows he's got so much pace in the tank.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's so good to have that sort of margin, as we'll see Tom 97 surely getting past this time. Tuki's left the door open. Karim will want to follow through. Tom 97, the only one matching Lolinoba's pace apart from Karim as well. So these guys need to get a move on those medium compound tires. They have to make it work, and making it work they are. Oh, Karim to the inside. He thought about it. He pressured Tuki. Tuki didn't take the bait, though, and so Tuki defends. Maybe Tom will get away with this, and hopefully will put a little bit of a buffer between him and Karim. Realistically, that's what they need to do, work together to get themselves to the front. But will the tyres have enough performance at the end? Look at that gap, 1.3 seconds. It's coming down, and very fast indeed. Team at Marduk is getting reeled in. That guy Vince is following as well in P3 for the moment, so everybody getting dragged along by the performance of Lolinoba.
Absolutely. Numerically, 10 tours to the end of the Australian Grand Prix. Ben in the pound seat for victory. Lolinoba is catching, though, rapidly. An absolutely determined drive from the championship leader as he looks to win. Now will be 3 races this season in season number 12. Can he do it? That's the age-old question. We'll find out in just a handful of laps' time. Karim closes in on Tuki. Like you said, John, he has to try and follow through. He doesn't want to let go of Tom 97 in the context of this DRS train. Has to save the battery. He's got absolutely nothing left to work with in terms of deployment. It all comes down to how committed you want to be during this chicane. That was completely committed from the Aston Martin driver who closes into turn 13, but that advantage is nullified with the DRS. Tuki holds firm. Now Lolly's in DRS, though. The lead train turns to 7. It is game on for the championship leader.
Problems, though, for the medium tyre runners. GB's last lap was a 1:18.0 as well. So GB has the pace now on the hard compound tyres. 1:18.5 for Team Marduk at the front. He has been caught in the DRS. You can see that flap open on the Ferrari, so he's no longer in the comfort zone, as they say. Tom 97, a 1:17.8. So only a couple of tenths of a second now between the medium compound and the hard compound, as we have a spinner. I think it's Jorrit van Heffen in the penultimate corner. He's got that going again, so maybe just into the gravel a little bit. You can see the gravel on the tires briefly there, so unfortunate spin. I think maybe those tires coming to the end of their life, really, to be fair, so unfortunate times for the Haas driver, but he'll have another day to prove his performance in a later date.
Also, to reiterate, now we're at lap number 49. No more intentional safety cars are allowed, ladies and gentlemen. It is all-out action to the end of this race, unless there is a genuine mistake. GB on those hard tyres, he's regained the momentum. He's catching that guy Vince. Doesn't get the best of bounces over that curb on the inside. Remains in P4 as Lolinoba continues to pile on pressure upon pressure upon pressure on the Australian sensation. Someone looking for their first race win here down under. Someone who's tasted success at their home track leads the line. It's the prediction versus the crown prince of the championship. Bring it on. Less than 10 laps to go here.
Yeah, look at them all line astern. It's just like sharks circling behind Team at Marduk at the moment. And I just think as Chappers gets past Brandon Miles, I think there's been a little bit of a mistake there as well into, again, the last sector proving so difficult. Oh, look up for GB there as well. Quite a few people going deep in that corner. I think they're just pushing the performance at the moment. GB is all over at the back of that guy Vince, but to be fair, everybody is just piled up behind Team at Marduk. They're all recharging the battery. Look at that, Lolinoba, full battery, ready to deploy. Team at Marduk will be ready. Karim, 3-second time penalty. That might change everything, and especially being on those medium compound tyres. You got to think the chances of winning the race are dwindling.
One of the speedy superstars has now picked up a penalty. Tom 97 was the first to do it. Karim says, well, you're not that special, mate. I've joined you in the penalty corner. But Tom is getting closer to GB. In the background, what shape does he throw? He throws it to the outside. In the background, looking maybe for a switch back at turn 13. Not going to happen. lap number 50. Ben holds the lead despite everything, despite that full tank of battery for the Ferrari driver. Ben holds station at the front. He's opting for that track position. We don't know what his battery is like in comparison, but the point is, he wants this race win. He's going to take it on the track, or is he? Because Lolinova looks to the inside of turn number 1. These two came to blows at the very first stanza of this race. Now we head into the latter stages, and it's all out action to the end. That guy Vince looks to find confidence on the brakes. Not as much as GB though, but look at Vince. He's going for it. Again round the outside of turn number 4. Will that open the door for GB, who's going to hold it round the outside? The answer is yes. Does Vince back out? Yes, he does. Great move from GB. Outstanding opportunism. And it's a podium place in the RB driver's corner.
Lolinova had to go for that one. Tom 97's looking to get past that guy Vince as well. That guy Vince has been just balked a little bit behind the battle of GB and Lolinova. I think just the fact Lolinova's tyres are running out of performance. He needed to try and destabilise Timo Marduk. It didn't really work out, but if it did, it would have given him the track position at least. As Tom 97 to the inside, that guy Vince can't really defend it, but he can just take the speed around the outside. Tom 97 getting all over the curb, and ironically, that might give Tukey the opportunity. No, not quite, but you can see that Lolinova still has the performance only for a couple of laps, and GB profited from that instant on the hard compound tyres to get an easy move on that guy Vince. That might prove crucial for the last few laps of this race.
One of my biggest improvers of the season, Tukey. Unbelievable. Look at this, staying with the lead train. You look at races gone by and how unfortunate, or all the misfortune he's had. But when it all goes right, when it runs like clockwork, that is what he can do. The lead McLaren in this race, nestled into the lead train, as again, we have a meteoric DRS train here on lap number 52. How much battery does everybody have? Ben charging before turn number 6, maybe to give a bit more dirty air to Lolinova, who loses about half a tenth, but he's close. 0.4 of a second. It is striking distance, but again, it all comes down to that age-old question of electrical energy. Tom 97 has plenty to burn. Vince was already recharging. He's going to hold it round the outside for as long as possible. Might have to succumb to that particular overtaking opportunity, and so he does. Next chance is turn 13. Same for this guy, Lolinova. Like you said, has to throw caution to the wind. The tyre performance isn't there. It's all there for Tom 97, though. It's even Stevens in the tyre talk. And round the outside, sweeps the Alpine ace. Inside didn't work, so a different approach taken. And that was beautiful work from the Alpine driver.
He learnt from the last lap. He saw that guy Vince defend from the outside and thought if anyone goes over that curb in race conditions, they just unsettle the car too much. So he forced that guy Vince to take that inside line, and you could see the car just get super unsettled. GB all over the rear of Lolinova here. They are fighting tooth and nail for this. Lolinova on the medium compound tyres. Behind him, in front of him, the hard compound tyres, so there will be a performance offset either way. But I think Lolinova just has a little bit of pace advantage over everyone at the moment, and he's trying to use it before it gets eaten up with these tyres. Still, many laps to go, really, if you think about tyre wear, so it could all happen in the blink of an eye. That performance could dip, and while he's got that performance, he's still attacking Timo Marduk. 3 DRS straights, there's no way Timo Marduk is going to get away unless there's a mistake. But paradoxically, this track you can make so many mistakes at, so it's all about the risks. Who's willing to go for that move? Lolinova at the moment has proved that he's willing to try and do anything to win this race, to carry on the streak. Meanwhile, P11 Grid Jokes get past Safso, so a move there, possibly a mistake. They didn't look that close on track before, but I mean, with the conditions ebbing and flowing in this race, consistency and confidence is everything. These front three are demonstrating that, as Tom 97 so close to dropping out of DRS range.
What you notice as well is Ben likes to play the game. Lolinova's trying to get out of slipstream. On the last lap, Ben actually put him back into slipstream. He's trying to get his engine to overheat that little bit more. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if he's concealing his pace as well, because he wants everybody to be in that train, to pile on the pressure on each other, so he can have that confident and comfortable road to victory. At least that's the game plan. Just under 5 tours to go of the Australian Grand Prix. Lolinova was about 3.5 tenths behind on the previous lap, the closest he's been. Does he get closer on this lap? He'll have the dirty air, and it's about the same once again. if Ben has that battery to burn, although a little bit closer, maybe Lolinoba will have that opportunity opened up for him. The championship leader, ever the tenacious man, is getting closer and closer, but look at the red light, it's already blinking. He runs out of that first DRS zone before he can properly provide the offense. GB then closes in the dirty air at the weight chicane, lets the Ferrari break away a little bit, lets the Red Bull have that comfort blanket, and so it remains 1, 2, and 3 as before. I also want to apologise. It's turn 13 that's called Ascari, not the chicane. What do I know? But it's another corner. There's so many corners on this track with a whole host of names. It's another one, though, that's not an Australian name, which is rather interesting.
Yeah, indeed. And the Australians have not had great success around this track as well. It seems to be a curse that they just cannot get a win at the moment. Oh, GB nearly into the back of Lolinoba. That was a huge late braking incident, just demonstrating the confidence they have on those tyres. As we have someone off, I think that might... Who is that that's gone off? Is it Chappers? I'm not exactly sure. There's a VSC deployed, but who has gone off?
Looks
It
like
looks
Yorit.
like a Haas. Yes, it is Yorit.
Yorit with a DNF. Oh my goodness me, ladies and gentlemen, it's a full safety car. Well, what do you do? I mean, surely you don't, unless Adam Sanderson, hello, I see where this could be going. Adam Sanderson with a 15-second gap. Does he try and play the dark arts for his teammate? But he then gives everybody else the opportunity to pit as well. He can't really play that game. Ideally, everybody stays out, and that is one and done until the end. We shall soon find out. But this is the situation then. Very late safety car indeed. And I'm going to ask the question to my producer, who I can hear in my ear. Do we have time for clips now we have this safety car? I will hear the answer. I have no idea. Lap number 55, potential for pit stops. If there are pit stops, then we'll have all the clips to answer the queries we have. Tiamat Marduk, your race leader. Lolinoba in P2. GB in 3rd. Tom 97 in 4th. Vince in 5th. Tukey 6th. Kareem 70 in 7th place. Adam Sanderson has now closed in onto the lead 7 because that stops them from having that free pit stop opportunity. They will be overtaken by that second Red Bull if they choose to be bold and brave. What do they all do? Ben feints the dummy into the pit lane. No surprise, almost no one follows it, but Tom 97 will pull the pit lane trigger. So does Kareem 70, but it's all unraveled. A 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. And every built-up piece of anticipation has fallen by the wayside.
This is going to be close on rejoin as well. I think the cars of Adam Sanderson, Infratic Concept 7, Grid Jokes have got past Tom. Yes, indeed they have. The penalty will negate anything to do with that. Anyway, unfortunate scenario. But I did expect everybody on the mediums to pit. They are going to be so deficient. I can get my words out in English, apparently. 12 laps on those tyres. They are not going to be good on these closing laps. They may only get 1 lap of racing. Over, I'm hearing from our producer. It's time to go over to the clip corner.
Yeah, I'm not going to take too much of your time, but what I will take is a couple of incidents, and this is what happened to cause the safety car. Jorik van Heffen heading through the chicane, just ran a little bit too wide. We've all done that, haven't we? And, well, you know what he should have done? He should have done this. This was him earlier on in the race, a couple of laps before, lap number 48, heading through the final couple of corners, had a big slide, and managed to save himself. But Jorik van Heffen really struggling on his grip today.
Thank you, Joseph. Excellent insight all the way through, my friend. And now we have a couple of laps to answer the question of who the hell's going to win this race. Safety car is in this lap. It's going to be a 2-lap thriller all the way to the end. Are those medium tyres still in working order? Do they still have that overall advantage? Are the hard tyres one step beyond? That is all the madness we have to answer. Tiamat Marduk holding the pace. He has control of the restart this time. Kareem 70 had it twice. Now it's the job of the Australian driver in his hometown. Lolinoba looks to paint the town red. Tiamat Marduk will try and not let that happen, because through the penultimate corner we go back racing for 2 more laps. And brace yourselves, hold your breath. If your heart's in your esophagus, I feel your pain. Lolinoba will be in hot pursuit. Tiamat Marduk leads us through to turn number 1. The mediums will fire up. They'll have that temperature. We haven't been behind for that long though, as Tukey gets a 3-second time penalty, and that will spell the end of what is a good result in the lead train. He'll drop down a whole host of places depending on how the soft tyre runners get on. Tom looking for moves early on, as will be Kareem, Safso, and all of those cars behind. But Tiamat Marduk and Lolinova hold station at the moment. No DRS enabled on this lap, so it should be smooth sailing for now.
It's going to all come down to how much Grid Jokes and Concept 7 can defend versus the soft compound runners. I think the problem that Lolinova's got is that everybody's recharged their battery, so Tiamat Marduk should have enough battery to defend. Here we go. Tom 97 on Grid Jokes. No real defense being put up there. There's too much of an offset of grip. And those soft tires will light up the timing boards, I can guarantee you that. Meanwhile, at the front, we do have a load of overtakes as well. Concept 7 has fallen to Tom 97 as well. Karim trying to follow through as well. It's just all about how quickly and how many overtakes per lap you can do. We could see Tom 97 get back into a top 5, already up to P7, and Lolinova still not close enough, 0.5 of a second. He'll have 3 opportunities to overtake realistically.
This is it, final lap of this Australian race. What a thriller we have had, a blockbuster spectacle all the way through. Tiamat Marduk leads this race. Second place is Lolinova, who's just charging on forward, trying to prize away what would be a 3rd victory of the season in season number 12. But what a fairy tale it could be for the Australian driver. Scotty's out. Scotty retires out of turn number 2. By the way, it's a tragedy. Everyone that finishes will now score points. What does Lolinova have in the locker? Half a second the gap. We've seen Ben defend this before. How much does Lolinova want it? It will all come down to how close he can stay at the end of this chicane. He's not going to be close enough to make that first move. Ben breaks the slipstream. The dirty air should assist him a little bit. Will he get the run to turn 13? He loses the time at the weight chicane. And that could spell all but that. Tiamat Marduk with just a few corners to go. No driver has won multiple times at the Australian Grand Prix. He was brave, he was bold, it was cutthroat and committed. But finally, persistence will pay off for the Australian driver. After all the heartbreak of Zandvoort, not once, but twice, he's the hometown hero. Benjamin Daly wins his first race of season number 12. Magnificent. What a drive all the way through. Look how close GB was to prizing away a podium on Lolinova at the death. But just as quickly as we got restarted, that's the end of that. What a thriller.
Oh, what an end to the race. Lolinova going side by side with, I think it was GB, definitely GB, yes, just in that last straight and just draining the battery, both lights flashing. It was almost the fairy tale for GB, but Tiamat Marduk, race winner in Australia. I mean, that sounds awesome, doesn't it?
There is no sweeter feeling. The happy homecoming for the now Red Bull driver. Let the celebrations commence, the champagne flow, and deservedly so. What a spectacle these 3 have put on. I'm so proud I'm finally a prediction prince. It was a long time coming, but it's finally happened. And here are the accolades. GB with cleanest driver. There goes the bonus point to the reserve driver. Tom 97 also with fastest lap. But your final classification, Tiamat Marduk in first with Lolinova and GB rounding off the podium. That guy Vince. Adam Sanderson in P5. Scott Taylor is furiously uppercutting the air. With Infratic, Safso, Tuki, Grid Jokes and Kareem 7T rounding out the top 10. Matt 212, Brandon Miles, Concept 7, Chappers, and then finally Tom 97 are our point scorers. And they were the 15 to finish the race. What a spectacle. And we hand it over now to Mr. Scott Taylor.